Hello everyone, good evening. Today is October 26th, another episode of Ripster Daily Recap, Daily Teachings. Sorry for a late video today. I was tied up in a bunch of stuff. So anyways guys, another red day, but good executions today. We were with the trend. So we'll talk about a few things. So SPY out of the gate, we'll discuss how we went bearish, although in the start we were bullish, but then we pivoted to a bearish. We'll talk about our SPY short at the open, QQQ short at the open, big meta short at the open, how we made lot of gains on a huge meta short. We will discuss our AMD long at open, NVDA long that we had to cut as well. We had to take quick loss and turn bearish both on AMD and NVIDIA. And although we traded NVIDIA reversal, we'll discuss that in the as well. And our big winner for the day, IBM, that's we're going to discuss my personal trade in IBM, meta shorts, AMD long. We'll talk about some other ideas in the community, ALGN short from 200 and Microsoft gap filled short, heaviness all day. We'll discuss few of our levels that really worked out well today, and we'll talk about UPS pop and fade. So some of the other ideas which I didn't take but worked out in the community, and couple of fail ideas like now which did not work for us, and NVIDIA which did not work, but we made up for that in the short side. So today was all about changing the bias, and we always change the bias. If it's bullish to bearish, we change the bias. So we will discuss all that. Stay tuned if you want to learn how to change the bias intraday using my concept, my strategies, intraday system. So let's go ahead. So today the plan was simple. If the VIX was under 2065, we would be bullish, and if VIX was over 2070 or 21, we will be bearish, and that's how we followed the plan today, staying bearish as long as VIX was over that 270 level and over 21 level. Then these were our levels, guys, if you guys can see, especially the levels which really worked out for us, meta. So meta levels really worked out. Microsoft, which we will discuss in a bit, you can screenshot it and review. Once Microsoft failed under those levels, it faded all day. So we'll discuss that. So few levels, guys, if you want to see, Google, the resistance pivot was 124.30. If you see the 124.30 right here is what it rejected at open, and it faded under the pre-market lows for a nice short at open. You can see the level. I gave the levels 124.30 and 122 puts, and this rejected breaks down, right? Similarly, the levels on meta, I will go in detail in the meta trade, but as you see, the level on meta was 286, 290. Once those levels gave up, although we identified 288 as another level under EMA Clouds, meta also fade in the morning. One thing I want to show here is Amazon, right? Amazon level was, support was 118 area. It never gave up whole day. 1, 2, 3, even in the after hours after the earning, that's how the level held, and it went higher. So this is importance of the levels, guys. Today again, level helped us manage our trades, right? So 414 was my SPY pivot. Once it gave up, nice short, which we will discuss again in our detailed discussion. But importance of levels, I make these levels every day. You guys can make these levels yourself. Pre-market prep, very important. Let's look at our watch list for the day now. So once going through all the, if you see my previous videos, I spent time on showing you how I find these news, going through all the news sources, going through analyst upgrades, downgrades every morning. I go through 4 or 5 sources, and then I make my watch list. So as you see, I had a watch list where I always have news plays, market indicators, which tells me what market is going to do, what is the trend for market. So we always keep market indicators like VIX 10-year and US dollars on our screens. Then we have marketplace, the place that go with the market: Apple, Microsoft, AMD, NVDA, Netflix, Google, Amazon, and Tesla. Boeing is also there. So watch list was good today. Out of the watch list, I personally did Meta, IBM. Now we'll talk about it. Align and UPS ideas worked as well. We scratched CMSCA, Visa level worked as well. So couple of failing ideas today, but bunch of winning ideas. We will discuss that, how we nail that in the community. So let's talk about a loser first. I mean, it was not really a loser, but if I don't have a trend day, I don't have a big trend win on a stock, I always call it as a loser for the sake of it. Let's talk about this one. This was Now. Really good earnings on Now. Really good earnings. If it was a bullish day, Now would have been much higher. To really see how this level panned out or what was happening, let's look at 3-minute chart carefully. So as you see, my plan was to long versus 550 level. Why 550 level? Because that was the pre-market support, and that's where the EMA Cloud was. So that's why that was my level of risk to long it. So I was, good earnings and I wanted to long it. So as soon as the market opened, I started 1/3 size. I took a long, and as soon as long, because I take a market order, and then it pushed right into 576, 579, right? And very thin name. So it pushed, and I could have scalped, from my entry. If you see 531, I could have scalped because there was enough time going long. If you see, if I had said on the first, as soon as market open, I said long, and when you see it had enough move, right? For 4 minutes it moved to 579, and the reason I didn't take any profit because I was only 1/3 size. I didn't even have enough size to scale out, so I was expecting a bigger move, so I held on, right? And I was looking for some lotos as well, and it pulled back, it held, quite frankly it was holding, and it did start to push higher, right? And then I was saying it was holding, right? That was right into after 20 minutes, 20 minutes when it was holding. So you could see, let's go to 10-minute chart now to get more clarity. So here, yeah. So if you see, it quite held over the opening price, at least for quite some time. It dipped, but our risk was 550. Remember, it dipped. It gave us enough chances to get out. But then the market was failing. I didn't do any lotos. I was in shares, so I knew this cannot work. We have to step away. So I took off whatever my 1/3 position share size was. Little less than break even. Let's call it red. But I did give warnings, right? So I said, in case the market stays heavy, so be careful. And I did give a warning of lower highs at 1016, and after that, of course, it breaks 512, it comes down, right? So that was Now. I'm very proud of how we managed it. That's fine. It trade didn't work, but we didn't really lose crazy, and I was giving the warnings. Even if only anyone who really lost on it if he slapped the ask and he did not get right at open, because at open your trade price buying should be this area. You should not be buying here. You should be buying here, ready. If you are just buying because let's say somebody saw me buying and slapped it, that's not how you do it. Because yes, sometime it would work, but most likely you would be red, right? So that's why, for that sake, calling it a losing trade, but lot to learn from this level as well. Okay, let's go to our next trade now. So AMD was our big trade right at open. It does not look much if you look at the 10-minute candle, but the options went almost 50% there, and I will show you how they moved and why they moved. So let me show you. Let's go into smaller time frame. Remember, the morning trades are completely different from 10 a.m. or after the trend trades. So let's look at 2-minute, right? So right at open, I took some long. I was in some shares, then I was in some calls. Right at open, At open you see 931, and I was there. Let's just go to 1 minute, right? I don't trade with 1 minute, but just to show you guys how the trade worked out. So let's see, right? So it broke out of this level right at open. I take long, I take long the calls. I gave 96 calls. I was taking 95 calls. So I took those calls and some shares, and the stock went from 96 to 97.50 to the highs in next 10 minutes, right? So 10 minutes. So if you entered here, so this is your best entry level right at open. If you are doing the opening trade, then you would have a chance to be profitable. But if you added here, you would be stuck in a pro move. This is a amateur move, and then this is a pro move. Reason, because market was rejecting. So this is the market candle, and this is when I was saying, giving the warnings that market is going. So you don't just look at AMD, you look at the whole market, right? So you look at the whole market. So if somebody lost in AMD, who was buying here, who didn't care to look at what market is doing, he was already buying away from the risk. We bought close to the risk, right at open, close to the risk, because of the breakout. And we were selling. We almost sold most of our position and our options, and a lot of people were green on AMD right at open. And as soon as I saw the warnings coming in of the red market, remember my entry was still here around 96. So I had enough time to manage my risk and get out, right? Even though I sold the last piece for little loss, but overall it was a profitable trade for me at open, the AMD opening long, right? So that was a good scalp. Then again, both of them started to turn bearish, right? Look here, bearish, right? And then we had to turn the bias. And after AMD, when I said AMD turned bearish, after that AMD faded. I said bearish at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. faded to 93, bounce, again faded to 93, right? So they were all heavy. We did similar thing in NVDA as well. So NVDA also with AMD, we tried to long, but then it rejected, and we have to get out and then change the bias. Change the bias on NVIDIA as well. You change the bias because market is heavy. You change the bias, you get out. That's why, you saw that my comments in the morning, I said big reject. Big reject. Do not long, only long if 412, 414 held, right? So then after that, it was a C minus setup. I said it will see 400, and then NVIDIA did see 400. And we'll talk about the reversal trade later in the day. But let's call NVIDIA as a loss and AMD Idea as a win, opening win. If you lost on AMD, you got stuck in the market reversal. So you have to plan this trade before the open. That's why I always say stick with one trade that you like. All right, so let's go next to IBM. So IBM was best trade for us today. If the market was good, it could have gone much longer higher. I was sized very small in IBM because I was because of the market, right? And that's why I did make good, but I didn't make crazy because the size was smaller. But look at it, right? So IBM was bullish. Breakout is 140, 150, 140, 150 right here, and then there is another level right here. So those two breakout levels, right? So I longed right at open, and I told people to watch pullback so that they don't really hit the ask. And then it was right when we added, so right when it was breaking out right here at open, it pull back right to this 140, 150 support. So that's what I was watching. Right, and it was still strong, but I said stay small. It was still strong. It held this breakout level. That's why I said stay small. And IBM was working at that time, now was working too. So that's why I said I will be proactive in case the market stays heavy. But then it was flagging, right? You can see this beautiful flag. And then it broke out of the flag. Boom, right? So it hit 144 and my target was 145. You know, we had it right at open. So nice trade on options, $2 share on the longs, and options moved nicely as well. So that was and then even after that dipped, once it dipped here, you know, I was out. I logged mostly everything here, but the last piece I logged here, and because of the heavy market heaviness, and people wanted to short it, I said do not short it. There's no risk reward. It's still uptrend, because if you short here, you don't cover here, then you get squeezed here, right? So that's why I don't like to short such setups. Somebody was asking me, but yeah, so this was our IBM nice little win today. So both Visa and Mastercard were on watch today. You know, both Mastercard was more bearish than Visa, so I really wanted to short it. I personally missed it, but it was still a great idea in the community. So if you see, I said at 1020 short, if market stays heavy, get a decent risk reward entry on the bounce and short it. So you see, so Visa once under the pre-market EMA Cloud, you see here, faded down, bounced, faded again, right? Then it faded all day from 230. Even if you entered your short somewhere here or even break of here, you risk, you know, $2 or this candle high, dollar risk, and you still made by end of day. By the time it turned over 512, you still made decent on options or shares. So this was a decent idea in the community. Whoever got it, I know a few people were on Mastercard, and so this was a nice. It's always good when you see your setups working, regardless if I traded it or not. So yes, you know, I don't trade everything, but I still want to recap if my ideas went wrong or right. So let's go back to our next trade. So align was another idea, was a clear short versus 200. I said bearish to neutral. If it takes over 200, we long it. If it fails 200, you short it. And you see how many candles at 200 were there, right? You see there were almost 4 candles, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I said it looks heavy. You know, they were trying to buy it here, but still it failed from the 200 level all the way to 187. You know, I scalped a little bit when it broke 512s, but beautiful idea on Align as well today, on that beautiful fade. So 200 was the key. Clean risk to reward, guys, on Align Idea. All right, so let's go to the next. So Meta was a big win for us at open, right? So Meta was big win for us open. The options just went crazy, 80 to 100%. Some of them went 150% depending on what option you had. But I can I'm just gonna keep it on 10 minutes. Not even needed to go to that. So look, my comments: bullish to neutral if the clouds hold. 290 is a key to hold. Then as soon as I saw it rejecting, and the 280 and this failed under EMA clouds, then I knew if it breaks pre-market lows, it's gonna fade more. Right away I shorted it, and I asked everyone to watch the pops to short. After 10 minutes, 941, even then I said it's still a short. 941 I said my target is 280, still watch pops, but it kept fading, 283. Finally it hit our target, 280. We logged most of it, you know, the options went 80% for me. So, you know, 280 puts went from you know, the 300, from $5 to 4.5. So huge trade. So great, huge morning trade for us on Meta. So very proud of that trade. Yes, of course I was holding a last piece, but when it curled over this resistance, and at same time it was over 512 EMA clouds, so that told me I need to get out, and then I got out, right? So you see, 280 target, I said free to scale, 280 puts, target hit, and as I see, I closed the Meta last one, good win there. So Meta, guys, beautiful trade for us today. One of the best trades today. Yeah, this was actually trade which really made the day green for me personally. So I noticed the strength in Boeing today. Everything was tanking, but Boeing was over EMA clouds, right? So I even mentioned it in on my floor that it was showing me strength, and then even in the middle of the day I saw it was trying to break out of this area, and guess what? Then the news hit. Then I said its next should be 183, and then it hit 183, right? It started from 177, EMA Cloud turn, and I started to notice the strength right here around this time, and it pulled back. Still, this was your entry right here. You can risk this place or ideally risk the 13 EMAs, and went all the way once it broke out of this pattern, right? And 183 was my target and hit 183. So nice little idea there, something to see. So that was good one. So let's talk about Microsoft, guys. So Microsoft, mostly I was talking on the voice that how it was heavy in the morning. It was breaking this pivot, right? The pivot I gave for Microsoft was 337.70, 336.60, 336.60, right? 337.70. Once this broke, look at the fade, and it was a gap fill setup. This was the gap, and it was filling the gap. Heavy from morning idea all the day, heavy, and then I was talking about this 332.70 support, and then it hit that, and then it further failed under the gap support and just kept fading. So Apple was similarly heavy. Even my Apple level that I gave in the morning was let's look at what was the level, 169.86 and 168. So those were the levels on the Apple. And Apple, not only that, Piper was giving out a bearish note, and even Apple faded. And we notice these things all the day on voice. I talk about them. When I say heavy, I know it's going to lower. So Microsoft and Apple was one of those two heavy stocks today that you could have traded nicely short all day using our system without any stress, just based upon the levels. So very proud of those as well. I scalped some Microsoft, but I know a lot of people in community were short on Apple and Microsoft. So that guidance was pretty spot on. Really proud of that today. So now let's talk about NVDA end of the day reversal trade. Okay, so this is the reversal trade, guys, and this trade I even I put it on Twitter. I tweeted about it that how 400 is a big level of reversal. So somebody asked me that they want to long my NVIDIA right here. I was like, no, you can't long it right here. There, it's a B minus setup, right? So I said, okay, so after the short, right? So everybody was short on NVIDIA. So you see, everybody was short on NVIDIA, and I kept talking about it's still heavy. Do not long because your risk is 400. I said that around 11 a.m. And then I said stick with the trend. It's a short, it's a heavy. And you can see even at 10:30 I said SPY, QQQ, AMD, NVIDIA all heavy. And you could easily see NVIDIA fading to 400. And then when it hit 400, I said cover your shorts. If it breaks 400, that's fine. Even tomorrow we'll take a look how it does it. But it was bouncing off 400, holding 400. That was a B minus setup for me to long. If the market reverses, I'm going to take that long because I have a clear defined risk, 400 psychological level. I've been teaching about that for years, again and again. So I was going to take a long those 400s, right? And so I gave the idea. If market reverses, good B minus setup. And then it started to push over 512. 406 was the first target for resistance. Went over 406. I said log some, B minus. Then my next target was 408. I said log some more. And then my last target was 411, right? But how high did we hit? We hit 409.85, and then when it finally broke this 406, we were out completely. So you know, for just risking $2 and you making $6, that's a good trade. 1 risk to 3 reward. You know, nobody gets the bottom because you don't know. So you wait for the reversal, and then you add that reversal when it started go over EMA clouds. So beautiful trade, NVDA short guidance, and then reversal trade today. So now let's look at our SPY guidance, guys. So a lot of money we made today, guys, was on this SPY and QQQ trades, like morning shorts. Even this short was the live opening guidance here. And then I said, if you are short, there's room to PM lows. It came to our targets, PM lows. It was still heavy by 10:30. You know, it was still heavy, and it hit our PM lows, and then it started bouncing, right? Then it started bouncing, and we already covered the short, and I didn't long it, we didn't long it, and we were waiting for our next opportunity. So the next opportunity arrived when we saw this breakdown. Okay, so let me show you. So I saw this breakdown. If I go to 10 minutes chart on ES futures, this was the breakdown. 10 minutes charts on NQ, this was a breakdown. If you were a futures trader, this was the breakdown, and I alerted the lotos coming in hot. SPX, somebody was buying the puts. That's why we follow the flow. J, we follow the flow, and we showed it. You know, we follow the flow, and then we shorted it. And then SPY went further more, and we got our, I said that 413 puts are good idea. They hit 30%, and by the time it hit the bottom, those hit 50 to 60%. And I think that went a little bit more, but we were out by then. So that was the, you know, the short on SPY QQQ today, you know. And then of course the reversal happened. I was trading NVIDIA, but still you could see 512 EMA reversal. We were guiding the flow, so even the community nailed the reversals. So that was really good. So as you see, so today was like green. Every day it's green, but today people started executing themselves, and it was so exciting in the community. I could see everyone, you know, green because of the repeatable process. Not a gut feeling trade, not that somebody is alerting, not that I'm alerting. Work as a team, understand the process, understand different variables that helps in making a successful trade, right? So that, just wanted to show that. So it was great fun today in community. Great profitable day, not the crazy, but still good. You know, it's more happiness is about executing the process and the repeatable systems. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. As always, you're welcome to join the community. I post some links up in the comments and descriptions. If you join, come for trading together, learning, do not come for alerts. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.